speak at the they held a rally. I think this was last week, if I'm not mistaken. Does this one have the? Yes, this was a couple days ago actually. This was on July 30th, 2020. You hear me? Like, what damn, what year is that? 2020. I'm about to play that number, 2020. Shit, I'm about to call my baby pops. I'm like, yo, I don't know why, but this number just came out. 2020. Go play that, John. See if we hit. Damn. But it came out July 30th, 2024. So this is the conference they had. I'm not sure. I think I got the son speaking on the other one. All right. So I'm not playing the whole rally. I fast forwarded. This was on July 26th, right? So that we could hear her family speak.
I also.
Oh, I got this on slow motion? No, it's normal.
It was so hard. It's hard for me to see. My daughter and my nephew had to go in the house and clean up blood. And that just hurts me to see my family hurt. And after what Attorney Crump had talked about the autopsy, that is exactly why he needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Thank you very much, Mr. Massey. Now you will hear from Sonya Massey, who is her first cousin, Raymond's daughter. And even though she has three other sisters, she was raised with Shadia, and they were like sisters. And Shadia was the first family member to arrive at the scene. And I mean, obviously the emotion of seeing your sister, blood everywhere, and how she tried to clean the blood up. So Malachi and Summer, her children, wouldn't have to see their mother's blood when they came in the house to get their clothes. So Shadia Massey was trying to speak to you from the heart.
Hello. Sonya meant the world to me. I loved her so much. This tragedy has been too much on my family. Her kids, her daughter cannot sleep at night, y'all. She's in one household, I'm in another household. For her to go to the bathroom, she has to be on FaceTime with me. For her to get a drink of water, she has to call us before she get out of her bed. You know, this is the hardest thing.
Oh shit. The kids are still staying in the house. Yo. Listen, man. I didn't know the kids were still staying in the house. That's crazy. Right? Damn. Like, to sit here in the same place where this happened to their mom, yeah, they gonna sit here, they gonna be having questions, they gonna be thinking about it. They listen, man, they're gonna be in their head. Like, the best thing that I can say that's going, like, and it's not gonna help all the way, but it'll show them how to deal with like their anxiety or a panic attack or whatever, the depression, whatever it is that they're going through. Like, they're gonna have to go through therapy for a little bit. For real, for real. Because what happened to their mom, like, especially if they saw the videos, which I know they saw the video, that when the camera footage got leaked out and stuff like that, that's gotta be going through their head. For, you know, her to say, "Damn, my niece," you know, for her to go to the bathroom, she has to FaceTime me. Yes. Like, even though the kids wasn't there, they're gonna suffer some type of trauma through it. They lost their mother by the hands of a cop, a person that's supposed to protect, serve and protect. Like, well, and if they seen the video, them images are gonna be in their head.
Thing that we have ever been through as a Massey. It just breaks my heart that our family has to go through this.
No, it's fine. Justice for Sonya Massey.
And finally, you'll hear from Malachi, who was the first one notified that his mother had been killed. And just as he explained to us what they told him, you see, was defined as an autopsy. So Malachi, if you would share what you on your heart.
Okay. Well, you know that they told me that my mom, she got shot in her eye and it came out her neck or whatever. And I don't know, like I haven't been able to sleep for real. The only time I really feel comfortable sleeping is when I'm like just on the floor. I can't even sleep in my bed. Like I don't know, like this is just I really don't have words. Like I've been said, I don't have words for real for this. But the first night I don't go to my mother's house, this happens. How? Why? And I wonder if I was there, if he would have did anything to me. I don't know. For real. That's all I can say. She lives with her father. I live with my father.
And I will say this, up until just a few weeks, Malachi and Summer were staying with their mother. She was having mental illnesses, and they made the decision it was best that they stay with their father while she seeks help. And that both of them were going every day to check on their mother, be with their mother. And the first time I talked to Malachi, he was so distraught because he said, because I was working, this was the first day I didn't get to her, and this happens. And then the only other thing, Malachi, you may want to tell them is, do you think law enforcement came there earlier that day?
Okay, it was an incident that happened earlier that day, and I talked to two officers or whatever, and I believe that it's the same officer that shot my mother. I talked to his partner first, then the second officer. That's the one that I think the one that did that. I talked to them, and they told me that because she was driving herself to the hospital or something, she wasn't even at the house when this was going on.
Y'all see what happened? Like, it seems like something happened in that hospital. It feels like Isabel Butterfield and Sonya Massey got into something.
But she was driving herself to the hospital. They told me that they were going to go there to help her, and then this happens.
So she was seeking help because she was trying to get help. And it's like Mr. Wilburn said, she was trying to get help. She needed a helping hand, not a bullet to the face.
That's right.
She just needed those officers to extend an ounce of humanity, not to kill her. And finally, you're here.
It breaks your heart to hear her 17-year-old talk. Like, damn, man, I would never want my son to ever, witness something like this happen to either me or anybody else that he cares about.
From Malachi.
He didn't witness it. He got to see the videos and the stories and everything else. Like, either way you look at it.
He explained to us what they told him, you see, was defined as an autopsy. So, Malachi, if you would share what you from your heart.
Okay. Well, you know that they told me that my mom, she got shot in her eye and it came out her neck or whatever. And I don't know, like I haven't been able to sleep for real. The only time I really feel comfortable sleeping is when I'm like just on the floor. I can't even sleep in my bed. Like I don't know, like this is just I really don't have words. Like I've been said, I don't have words for real for this. But
The first night I don't go to my mother's house, this happens. How? Why? And I wonder if I was there, if he would have did anything to me. I don't know. For real. That's all I can say. She lives with her father. I live with my father.
And I will say this, up until just a few weeks, Malachi and Summer were staying with their mother. She was having mental illnesses, and they made the decision it was best that they said their father while she seeks help. And but both of them were going every day to check on their mother.
Yes, I think she has a daughter too, if I'm not mistaken, a son and a daughter, if I'm not mistaken.
With their mother, and the first time I talked to Malachi, he was so distraught because he said, because I was working, this was the first day I didn't get to her, and this happens. And then the only other thing, Malachi, you may want to tell them is, you think law enforcement came there earlier that day?
Okay, it was an incident that happened earlier that day, and I talked to two officers or whatever, and I believe that it's the same officer that shot my mother. I talked to his partner first, then the second officer.
I'm gonna pause it right there. See, now y'all see why I keep saying there. Listen, man, this officer knew Sonya Massey well. She knew, I mean, he knew her well. Like, it wasn't your first encounter with her, it wasn't your first time seeing her. You knew that she had mental health issues. So why react the way that he reacted? Was it a hate crime? That she knows something about him that he didn't want to get out, or about his wife? Because once again, this seems to lead back towards whatever happened in the hospital before she got discharged. Y'all keep hearing about the hospital band. Something happened in that hospital. And, you know, when the case unfolds all the way, we will find out what really happened.
That's the one that I think the one that did that. I talked to them, and they told me that because she was driving herself to the hospital or something. She wasn't even at the house when this was going on, but she was driving herself to the hospital. They told me that they were going to go there to help her, and then this happens.
So she was seeking help because she was trying to get help. And it's like Mr. Wilburn said, she was trying to get help. She needed a helping hand, not a bullet to the face.
That's right.
She just needed those officers to extend an ounce of humanity, not to kill her. And like we said, mental illness is real. You all may have family members who are struggling with their mental health. They deserve compassion and consideration, not excessive, unjustified force like we saw in that video. So we continue to try to say that Sonya Massey, life matters. She did, man, when you hear Malachi talk about what kind of mother she was, how she worked overtime to help him get a car and everything so he can get a job, how she talked to him about balancing budgets and about the Bible and about trying to work and be responsible. I mean, she was doing her best to be a person who helped people in the world, especially her children. She did.
It seemed like, regardless of her mental health, she wanted to be there for her kids. You know that there's a lot of, there's a lot of people with schizophrenia that have a hard time trying to get their, self together for themselves, for their kids, for their loved ones. Sonya Massey seemed like she was really trying to get herself together. It just messes with my head to know that, like, yo, her mother was trying to get her help that day. She requested that they send non-combative officers. And my thing is, that department knew how this officer was. Why would they even send him? And like I told y'all time after time, y'all go look at part 1 and y'all go look at part 2. I keep saying it. Like, why was it that these officers got there so fast? How did they get there so fast, right? Reason I say that, when you listen to the dispatch call, right? The dispatch calls them and tells them when they get done at the scene that they're in to let them know so that they could go to this scene, right? To the Sonya Massey situation. But these officers were already there allegedly en route, and they got there in less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. Like, y'all got to look at the timeline of everything, yo. It feels like it was premeditated murder. Like, this officer was already planning to do this to Sonya Massey.
Not deserve this. She did not deserve this. So, Malachi, if you got anything else you want to say? Okay. Thank you so much, Malachi. We will try to take some of your questions if you have any.
So, I'm sorry, Malachi was describing earlier on July 5th that there was a response that the same officers.
That he said he believes it was the same officers. That's why he believes they knew she was struggling with her mental health.
And she had driven herself to the hospital for treatment.
She had sought consultation, yes.
She had not been in an inpatient program.
She was seeking help. And you know what's crazy? A lot of people don't seek help. It's like when a lot of patients, a lot of people with schizophrenia, when someone you love has schizophrenia, right? And they get into one of them episodes. Sometimes one of them episodes, they can't come out of. And once they're a certain age, once they the age of 21, like here in Philadelphia, I don't know how it is in y'all state, right? The decision is theirs. You can't force them unless you can get a judge to put in the order to force them to go into some type of psychiatric help. But this lady voluntarily was doing it. And you could tell she was doing it for her and for her kids and for the people that she cared about and those that loved her. Like, yo, these officers, this officer, because they're saying that the other one is innocent, but me personally, I don't know. I'm a little confused with the officer. I'm gonna be very honest with the second officer. Did he have parts, or did he just find out when he was getting there? You see where I'm coming from? Like, on that one, I am kind of confused.
Under doctor's care.
Yeah, well, Mr. Wilborn said it. Remember the other person, how she was trying to get consultation because she was struggling with her mental health.
So
Yes, sir.
Malachi believes that the officers went to his mom's house earlier
That day.
the day before, July 5th, right?
Yes, July 5th.
July 5th. And do we know why they went to the house?
No, some incident happened. She was on her way to the hospital when she was talking to Malachi. But you talked to the officers too.
Yeah, I talked to them and I was letting them know what was going on. I really don't know what happened before I got there, but I just know that I talked to them and let them know what's wrong with my mother.
So you talked to one of the officers by phone, and I'm just
no, in person, face to face. Yes, they was at my house.
You were at the house at
yeah.
the same time visiting your mom?
And she drove herself to the hospital because I don't know why she did, but she drove herself to the hospital. When I got there, it was just the police there. My mother called me before all of this happened, and she told me the police was there. And when I got to her house, she wasn't there. She was calling me, telling me that she's driving herself to the hospital, and they were outside of the house.
So you don't know who called 911 or called it?
So she drove herself to the hospital after the encounter with the police, right, that day?
And you told them.
So it looks like Sonya Massey didn't trust the police. She was going to seek the help, but she didn't want the police to take her. I don't know what has happened between this officer and her before, but like I said, it looks like it hasn't been the first encounter with her. It's with him and her. I really want to know what happened at that hospital. So I know Novelist is on it. I'm gonna show y'all who Novelist is. Like, he's really been on the case. I found him out, like, it's been what, 2 weeks, and he's been on this case. Like, and thanks to him and a couple other YouTubers, I've been able to find all the videos, put them together, and come up with my own conclusion, do my own research. And it's crazy that we're all coming up with the same conclusion. Like, but it is a piece to the puzzle missing. And I feel as though it's a big cover up by the police department.
About struggling with mental health.
Yeah, and I just tried to, like, that whole week, like, before all of this happened, I've been trying to get her in a mental health. We actually did get her in a mental health place in St. Louis, but they let her come back. I don't know why. Why would they let her come back?
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You had referenced two separate people that had use of force complaints that were never officially filed. Were those?
I think they were filed. They had no determination, is what we've been told.
But they were filed. And just, I guess my question, were both of those for Sangamon County specifically, or were those at previous law enforcement jobs?
We think it was a previous law enforcement job. One of them was an African-American citizen. We don't know the other one, but we know that the allegations is that they reported them. They have contacted our office. One of them did tell us he was a black man and told us it's the same guy, and that he, they end up charging him and stuff. He thinks they did that intentionally. And so apparently it's in his record that there were allegations made, but unsubstantiated. So we continue to try to get to the crux of that. The other individual called the office said that, they made a allegation, but nothing happened. And they didn't want to go further. They just prayed for the family and said, we had a run-in with him too.
So these were proactive calls from the people to you, not official? Okay.
Yeah, proactive calls.
What has DOJ told you? You told us the other day that they'd opened an investigation. They say we're monitoring, assessing, and following the criminal case.
Right. And subsequent to that, we have been told to try to send a formal inquiry about these other allegations so they can look at who those citizens were and if there was a common connection of the excessive force and on who did he inflict excessive force allegedly on.
Okay, so you're familiar with this process.
Yeah.
They haven't said an investigation, but they are assessing what you're.
Right. So that apparently they've opened a file and they have come short of calling it an investigation. And they told us they would notify us that they are trying to get information just like we're trying to get information, and that they're working with the local officials to get information.
So my question is, I know he's being charged. Is he behind bars? Like, is he arrested officially? So that is my biggest question, because I know that his wife's father was fighting for them to release him. They're saying they're not going to release him, but shit, I don't trust the police department. Like, if his wife's father had that much word for him to get hired with the background that he has, boy, I don't trust nobody in that department, because they let that shit just fly. All right, like, fuck it. He gave us his word. Let's hire him. Let's overlook the fact that he had 2 DUIs and he was arrested for, I think, a felony or something like that. I mean, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth right now because I don't have the paperwork on me right here. It wasn't for today's live, but I think Novelist on the video that I'm going to show y'all today, it talks about it. So hopefully he does talk about it on his video.
Obviously, plenty of questions about the incident with police arriving to her home earlier in the day. If you know, all of that, who was at the house that you decide, if there were multiple visits to her home in that day, what does that tell you about the way that she was received when those deputies showed up at the scene later, and the temperament and the way she was treated when they got to that?
Well, you know, it's going to be interesting, and I'm sure we can find out who went on the call earlier. Was it the same officers or not? And then did they have body camera video then, and so forth? And can we find that out? We're just trying to get to the truth of what happened, man, because what happened on that video was not right. It was senseless and it was unjustified. And so we want to know everything that led up to her being shot in the face while she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus."
I guess just to go off that, there were already critiques of the way they were handling, you know, and treating her, talking to her at the home before any of this happened. The way she was going through something and they were short, they were talking slowly to her. And I guess just if there was already that history of knowing she kind of had that, does that just expound on those problems for you?
Exactly. If you knew it was a person dealing with mental issues, then why in the world would you ever feel the need to do that to her? You know, she has no history. She never been arrested, you know, the autopsy, there was no drugs in her system other than the medications that we know about. She was just a mother trying to be a mother to her children. She did the right thing. She had them go live with their fathers and so forth while she was trying to get mental health. She was trying to do everything right. It was, you know, these officers, namely, you know, Grayson, who didn't respect her enough to try to say she's having mental issues and we need to try to be compassionate, not heavy-handed.
It was reported with the Kincaid Police Department, in their records it showed misconduct, serious offense. Do we know, was Logan County and Sangamon County, did they also read misconduct, serious offense when going through his application?
I would assume so if they were being prudent. You know, you don't just hire somebody willy-nilly and you're going to give them a gun and a badge and say you get to go interact with the public. That's what Mr. Wilborn keeps saying. Why did he even have a job as a sheriff's deputy after those red flags?
And the question that I also had.
And that's the same question everybody keeps asking. Like, either this officer didn't care, or it's like they building what, some type of code, or some type of gang, like, or this was just, you know, a corrupt deputy that wants to have corrupt cops. I mean, there's so many theories that could go about this just because the man doesn't want to really answer the question. Deputy says that the officer was just, knowing that it was unjust.
As you know, these police departments or sheriff departments, would there be documents that you request them, or we've seen where they tracked, yes, we went to Sonya Massey's house at this time, like before that July 6th encounter early in the morning?
You know, we don't know, but we believe that when they go to somebody's house, there should be some report of it. And so that's why we're hoping, as I told Malachi, we will know were these the same officers who came to the house or not when he got there trying to check on his mother. Yes, sir.
And they still haven't answered that question. Out of all the updates and everything, they have not told us yet if they were the same officers. It's been already over a month, and they haven't told us yet if these officers were the same officers that Sonya Massey had an encounter with earlier that day.
Can you or a family member talk about what they were trying to do specifically to get Miss Massey mental health aid and the St. Louis situation with her being down there? When is the time frame for that state?
And Mr. Wilburn and Brianna are here. I think they were the ones who were trying to help her with that, her sister Brianna and you. Okay. Do you know how long she was supposed to stay in St. Louis? Or?
It was supposed to be 30 days, but then she got out after 2.
30 days, but they released after 2.
Was that it? Sorry, John. Was that a voluntary?
Yeah, it was
Voluntary. They made it, and Malachi talked to Mr. Jones and I. The reason his sister and he were not staying at his mother's house anymore was because she was going to be at the mental health facility in St.
Y'all see what I'm saying? She was allegedly released within 2 days. What happened in that hospital? Why were these officers were there so fast when they were supposed to be at another scene? They was already en route when dispatch called. How did y'all know? Was y'all the ones in the yard, lurking and stuff? Because she made the call thinking that there was brawlers in her yard. That's why I said something's off in the story.
Louis. And yes.
You know the name of the facility? It's Grand Prairie or something? Or I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get it. Yes, sir.
The reason for why, even though she was supposed to be there for 30 days, they released her after 2 days?
He said he doesn't know. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where she was driving to on the license, like which facility?
St. John's Hospital.
Any other questions? It underscores that mental health is real, and we need to understand that people who are trying to get help need us to be considerate of their efforts to try to better themselves. And apparently, she was trying, y'all. She was trying. And so we will continue to try for Sonya Massey. We will continue to fight for her to get justice, full justice. And we keep saying that word, full justice, because her son and her daughter and their family deserve full justice.
See, there you go, Relis. She does have a daughter, so I was right. She has a son. She has a daughter. I know I wasn't tripping. I know I was researching deep into this. She does have a daughter. I'm not sure if there's a clip out there of her daughter speaking up, but I know her father and her mother do speak up.
We will keep you updated. We know that on Sunday, there's been a national call for mourning for Sonya Massey in over 25 cities. Tamika Mallory and Until Freedom, a civic engagement organization, has set it up, and they're having rallies in New York, Washington, D.C., St. Louis, Los Angeles, all around the country for Sonya Massey. We know that Reverend Al Sharpton and clergy are in Chicago on Tuesday at 6 p.m. having a rally for justice for Sonya Massey. And we know that congressional members as well as the vice president are constantly praying for the family and also seeking to talk with her family in the days to come. We've talked to about 3 congressional members so far, and I know Vice President Harris is trying to set up a time to talk with the family of Sonya Massey.
Mr. Trump, what's that agency that's putting these rallies together?
It's a couple of them. It's National Action Network, Until Freedom, National Action Network, the NAACP, all the civil rights organizations. Say Her Name, based out of Los Angeles, Black women who have been killed by police violence, like Sandra Bland, like Atiana Jefferson, like Pamela Turner, like Breonna Taylor, and the list goes on and on.
That's the family planning and attending the rally in Chicago with Reverend El Shep.
Yes, they are. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And you can get all Autopsy by press@bigfront.com. If you ain't got it from State Attorney John, their house here. Oh, they can take a picture.
We can leave it for a few minutes. I'll get it. Thank you.
All right, guys. I'm gonna go on to the second video.